Nancy was nice enough to host a meeting today with our purpose being that we're going to try to learn from each other after we do some classroom visits. I thought before we go and do a visit, it might be great to look through some of the materials. So in front of you on a clipboard, you should have the balanced literacy component that we're going to use for all the classrooms.
Then we'll sit out in 2 teams, about 3 or 4 people each, and Meg will be in one group and I will be in the other, and we will take you to our team areas. And in the team areas, there's various grade levels.
After the team has been guided through the process, they are ready to visit the first classroom.
What is this special? What is this very one?
Once the team has finished gathering data from the first classroom, they return to the meeting space to calibrate their observations of the look-fors.
All right, so we had our calibration visit. Let's talk about that first section, classroom climate and culture.
Well, what I noticed is the learning target was posted on the board. The one I was specifically looking at was they're able to ask questions before, during, and after reading. However, there wasn't a performance criteria as to what types of questions we want students to be asking.
After this initial calibration, the team has a deeper understanding of the look-fors and returns to classrooms. When finished, they return to talk about common patterns and next steps.
Well, we've all done multiple visits across multiple grade levels. You could take the next 5 minutes to reflect on what you've seen across the board for whole group, small group, independent reading, classroom climate, learning target, and method, and some maybe try to find 2 observations in each of those areas.
When the team has had time to personally reflect upon their observations, the members are ready to give feedback to the hosting principal and her leadership team.
So one of the observations I made, that there was a lot of small group and independent work going on. I didn't observe whole group instruction. So a question I might have is, how is the whole group instruction being used effectively to support small group and independent reading?
One of the observations that I have is that I noticed that you had a real mix of level libraries. So the question I would ask is, have you discussed what constitutes a really strong level of library, and have you discussed the role of the amount of nonfiction and fiction? And some students did have access to books that were at their appropriate level, but I couldn't tell from what was in the room if you had enough, for how long that would go and what the selection was. But in terms of a summary message you want to give to, because we're going to wonder, we walked through their classrooms, what they saw, there were a lot of real positives. What's going to be your message to your staff, Nancy?
Before the meeting ends, the team talks about the literacy classroom visit process, noting things that worked well and ideas for improvement.
You know, we've been doing walkthroughs as principals for a very long time, but they've been more surface. They didn't elicit the kind of conversation we've had, and that is, I think, the part that we were missing. So this has really given us like a format that we can use to talk about it.
So then the data that I'm collecting is valuable, it's valid, it's not made up, and being able to use the data that I collect along with the teacher survey and integrate those together to develop professional development opportunities for staff, I think is a great process.